Hello everybody and welcome to another video on the Pole Position YouTube channel. In this video we are going to be discussing Sebastian Vettel, and yes, the Aston Martin team has been launched. We've seen the car launch, we've seen Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel in their race uniforms for this season. We've seen Lawrence Stroll, we've even seen James Bond make an appearance in the launch. But what we're going to be discussing in this video is whether we're going to see the old Seb back. Are we going to see Sebastian Vettel on the podiums, and most importantly, are we going to see him winning a race this season? Without further ado, let's get into the video. So yes, like I said, we saw the launch last Wednesday, the AMR21, or the sort of Aston Martin Cognizant racing brand. It was great to see the launch. I mean, it's a nice feeling. I like the fact that the car's still got a bit of pink on it as well, to sort of go back to the Pink Panther days of Force Indian Racing Point. So it was really good to see. Lawrence Stroll was obviously out there, making an appearance as well, and it was a good car launch. We're obviously getting them. They're all thick and fast at the minute, and I always think they're all trying to outdo each other. So if you're the first one, I think it's less pressure, but the further you go on in terms of the car launches, the more that's got to be done. And it just looked like they threw everything at it in terms of, Gemma Arterton, the actress, was doing the sort of presenting of the program. Like I said, we had Daniel Craig, James Bond himself, make an appearance. NFL star Tom Brady was in it as well. There was obviously the Union Jack covering the car before it was unveiled as well. So I feel like everything was sort of, Lawrence Stroll was front and center. He was talking about how it's been a great achievement to get Aston Martin back in the sport. So it was a really good launch. But what I'm going to be talking about really in this video is Sebastian Vettel, and I was just waiting to see the sort of smile on Sebastian Vettel's face. And as soon as he walked out, he walked past the car and he had a little glint in his eye. He was smiling alongside his teammate Lance Stroll, and he just looked, even in them first 10 seconds, he looked a lot happier than he was in the, say, last 18 months that he's had at Ferrari. He looked happy, he was smiling, even through the sort of auto-cued questions. He still was giving good answers, and he looked like he had his sort of personality was more back. He looked like he was enjoying himself a bit more. In the interview he did with Will Buxton as well, he was talking about how it's been quite difficult to work with the team over the winter. They've been doing a lot over video calls because due to lockdowns and still the pandemic, it's been difficult to get to the factory. So they've been working well on the video calls with the engineers, which obviously has been good, but it would be better if they were there at the sort of team, and also discussing how the actual people behind Aston Martin, or behind Racing Point for last year, helped him sort of stay in the sport, because he was sort of thinking about leaving Formula One. Maybe not to the extent that he was going to announce it, but he was having thoughts about, should I retire from the sport. And it was sort of the excitement of the project for this year and going forward that sort of excited him and wanted him to stay in the sport. Aston Martin have set a target of 3 to 5 years for them to win the driver or constructors titles, but obviously the medium-term project is to get that third in the constructors that they only just missed out on last year, finishing fourth. I think McLaren sealed it in Abu Dhabi. So the medium-term project is obviously to achieve that, but also to get the more podiums and more race wins. We obviously saw Lance Stroll on the podium. We've seen Sergio Perez obviously win the race in Sakhir last year. So they do have a good car, and obviously there's the full transition hasn't happened yet for 2022. This is sort of like a 2021 or 2020 plus one in terms of the this season. So they've obviously got a good car. In this new rebranding, as it were, it's still going to be a fast car like it was last year. So in terms of the actual podiums and in terms of race wins, I think that is a real possibility for both drivers in terms of Lance Stroll and Sebastian Vettel. But I think in terms of being a fan of Sebastian Vettel and seeing him a lot happier than he was at Ferrari, I think it's important that he hits the ground running and he's confident in that car and gets them opportunities, gets them possible podiums, and then moves on to race wins. I still think Sebastian's got that talent. He's excited for this project now. He looks like he's more interested interested than he was last year at Ferrari. Of course, he was already told before the season started that he would be not required. He still has the same ambition to win, and obviously that goes along with the new project with the team of Aston Martin, that they also want to win as well. So yeah, I think their aim is for the third in constructors, but I think if they can get race wins as well, that's an absolute bonus. And I think it's going to be very difficult this year in terms of who's going to make it into the be in that third position at the end of the season in the constructors, because I think we all expect the Mercedes and Red Bull will be first and second, but like I've mentioned previously, we've got McLaren, we have got Aston Martin, we've got Alpine, possibly Ferrari in there as well. So it's going to be a very close battle in terms of who gets that third place spot, but I think it would probably be between McLaren and Aston Martin, a bit like what it was last year. I know Renault were close, but I think Alpine will be closer. What happens with Ferrari in terms of their power unit performance, if that's been upgraded during the winter? They say they have, but we won't know until the first couple of races of the season. But ultimately, I think Aston Martin are in a very strong position to start the year, and obviously they won. I know it's not the same track, but they won in Bahrain or in Sakhir, and they had some good races there with the two last season. Obviously, we're starting the season and the testing is taking place in Bahrain, so I think it's a perfect place for the team to start their F1 sort of history again. So ultimately, I think this is Sebastian Vettel will win a race this season. It's going to be bold of me to say that, but I think with all the sort of chaos that happens in races, and the possibility that the two Mercedes might retire, or Lewis Hamilton might get a penalty, or anything can happen in these races. So I think Sebastian Vettel will win a race this season. I know there's like 23 races, so there is that possibility that anybody could win a race, and all of them maybe could win a race this season. But I think Sebastian Vettel will win a race for Aston Martin this year, and I think Lance Stroll will do well as well. I think it will be close between McLaren and Aston Martin in the constructors. I might have a change of heart halfway through the season. I still think McLaren at the minute, but I think it'll be very close. Let me know in the comment sections below. Who do you think will win a race first? Will it be Sebastian Vettel or Lance Stroll? Do you think they will win a race this season? And who will finish P3 in the constructors? Thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care. See you soon.